I'm Tariro by proxy in Zimbabwe. The poem Brian wants me to read is extremely sad, I think, but I will read it anyway. It's not a warm summer's day. But it was written off the back of the murder of the university student Uyinene in South Africa, the one who was found murdered in a post office and then buried in a shallow grave. So I think that moved Tariro to write something, because it's the story that made the headlines, but unfortunately it's not the only story that is there. There are many instances of these sort of things happening to young women, university students, young workers, mothers, sisters. So I will read Bodies. It was the summer of coffins and dying. That is to say, there were posters out for Uyinene, or maybe just before that. And I remember, she should never have died alone, and nobody should ever die alone. And she must not have gone gentle into the good night, because who goes peacefully when they're staring down the barrel of a gun? And it's a cruel thing to leave a body unburied and alone and exposed and shameful. So much more that a good Samaritan pointed her stolen car to the member of the SAPS, and he refused to stop and search because there was no probable cause and there was no justification or jurisdiction, but still a woman dead that could have been alive, and no one cared enough. And it was just yesterday she was alive and in one of my classes, and I never said goodbye to her because she would live to get old and fat and wrinkled. Or so I thought. And in that spring too, there was Uyinene, and we must remember he had more skeletons in his backyard, and those girls' names were never mentioned on the 8 o'clock news. And too, there is my friend. Who remembers the shock of bearing audio witness to a murder-suicide? One scrape of a chair against a wooden floor. 3 raised voices in the middle of the night. 2 gunshots and silence. And he must have thought it was another Columbine or something, because he sat there and waited for death to find him, and it never came. But the yellow tape on the next door told him he hadn't misheard a single thing. This is what happens when a woman tries to leave, and a man decides he cannot, no, he will not live without her. So he takes his own life, but is too big of a coward to face the afterlife alone. He takes women and children with him, and there's no one left behind to continue the family way, the family line. That is the way of things. And then there's the roommate. What do you do when you hear domestic violence? When did it happen? Now, like 5 minutes ago. You mean to say it's happening now? And each time it feels asynchronous. The sun shines and someone plays music and a life is lost. And they all have names. Amanda, Uyinene, Megan, roommate. Those who know death know this too. It is the true sign of grief to transcend weeping. Those who have lost know how an empty heart beats heavily.